The 2025 budget is out, and well, it's pretty much exactly what you'd expect from a budget being released just weeks or potentially even days before a federal election is called. Basically, there's a lot of little treats in there for you, so let's get into the most important stuff. Now, the biggest surprise here is more tax cuts for all. Labor's already been tinkering with tax brackets a bit, meaning everyone will be paying a decent bit less this year, but they've just announced that from mid-2026, that 16% tax bracket will be lowered again to 15%, and then 14% the year after that. That means that everyone earning 45k or more will get to keep an extra $268 for the 26-27 financial year, and then an extra $536 every year after that, on top of the tax cuts we already knew about. As we all know, this election and this budget are focused on cost of living, but most of the measures in there have already been announced. For example, the government will extend its energy rebate to the end of the year, meaning you'll automatically get back $150 on your electricity bill. And the coalition has already promised to match that, by the way, so notionally we should get it no matter who's in power. Labor's also spending $7.9 billion to reduce the costs of going to the doctors, which they say will make 9 out of every 10 GP visits bulk billed by 2030, which once again, the opposition has promised to match cent for cent if elected. Speaking of healthcare, the government will also reduce the maximum price of medicines on the PBS from $31.60 per script to $25, which is great news for Vyvanse girlies like me. When it comes to housing, there's nothing earth-shattering in there, but the government is promising to expand who's eligible for their Help to Buy scheme. Oh, and remember how the government announced that they'd outlawed vapes, but then it's like still super easy to buy a vape? Well, they've now committed another $157 million over the next 2 years to crack down on the trade of illicit tobacco and nicotine products, which, you know, I'm sure is going to completely sort that out. There's a bunch more stuff in there, including, $3 million to breed more endangered Magean skate. However, the bottom line is we're looking at a small deficit of $42.1 billion in the coming year, meaning that the government will spend $42.1 billion more than it takes in from taxes. This isn't a surprise. It's actually slightly less than was predicted in last year's budget, and they still reckon that the deficit will go down in years to come. However, it's important to know that these good news numbers do rely on no massive international trade wars breaking out or anything like that. And what's this? Oh, a whole page in the budget talking about the potential economic dangers of a certain US president triggering an international trade war. Okay, so really there's 2 main messages that the government is sending with this pre-election budget. 1, obviously, please vote for Labor. And 2, things are looking somewhat decent for Australia at the moment. Let's just hope Trump doesn't screw it up.